Welcome back. Let's get into our entertainment news now. The highly anticipated Gladiator sequel has had an epic opening weekend at the box office.
Yeah, for more, we're joined by entertainment editor Peter Ford. Hi, Pete. How many millions are we talking?
134 million Australian dollars. That's worldwide, except the United States. A very interesting marketing choice to not open it in the States till the end of this week, which means it will open the same day as Wicked. So not that there may not necessarily be a huge crossover, but there'll be a lot of movie tickets sold next weekend in the United States. So this is the biggest opening for a Ridley Scott movie outside of the United States ever. So that's a good starting point for this one. Even though it turned out that despite all the hype and the worldwide publicity tour that they did, the reviews for it actually turned out to be fairly mixed, a lot of them pretty bad actually. So it's a great example of how you can create hype and excitement but not let professional critics interfere with that. And we're seeing that more and more. I thought this interview was really fun, and certainly all the cast have done a lot of interviews. But in this one, Paul Mescal talks about only 5 years or so ago when he was actually doing a sausage commercial, and he's got no embarrassment or regrets about that at all. So yeah, I'm sure any struggling actor, any commercial would be welcomed. And they also talked about the fact he was in a high school production of Phantom of the Opera and actually played the Phantom in that particular production. So everybody's there. He is there. So it doesn't look like a lavish production, but nonetheless a lot of spirit and a good bouncing board for him.
Oh, I love that. The Gillies Boys ×3 went and saw it last night and loved it.
Great, that's good news.
Well,
Real
you know,
people are more important.
Is there more to that story?
No, but they just say the critics, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can just go along to the movies, grab a popcorn and just have a great, you know, a great night.
With the Gillies family.
No, I'd seen it.
No, that is good. You know what? And the critics, when you read a bad review, you usually know it's going to be a great movie.
A good movie, yeah.
All right. Well, if the Gillies boys loved it, then I'm in.
Did.
Broadway musical featuring songs by Elton John is making headlines.
Yeah, and this again is a story about the critics, because the movie the stage production Tammy Faye opened in New York over the weekend, and this is a musical that Elton John has done the music for, and he's got a great pedigree, of course, you know, with everything from Lion King to Billy Elliot, and he co-wrote this with Jake Shears from Scissor Sisters, but the critics have really given it the thumbs down. Now, Tammy Faye Baker, of course, the evangelist, her husband Jim was an evangelist. It also involves Jerry Falwell, so it's also a musical very much about the power of television and how these evangelists were able to get to people and get into their bank accounts by way of using television. So the critics didn't like it. Now, this is not automatically going to mean the end for the show. There's been a lot of big hit musicals that have opened to very average or very bad reviews, and I'm talking about shows like Wicked and Les Mis. So, you know, don't think just the critics have that power to close a show. You'd rather have them on your side than not, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's all done and dusted.
Yeah, it's sorry, Kylie, to interrupt. It's worth noting that the critics didn't like it, but the Gillies boys went last night, and just before Gladiator 2, and they love this.
Yeah. Tammy Faye. Betty White's being immortalised in a unique way. What's that, Pete?
Yeah, you know you made it when they're putting out your face on stamps, right? So next year, as a part of a whole series of cultural icons, Betty White will be there in that. Now, of course, you've got to remember with Betty White, to the American audiences, she's been around forever because she was a radio star. Then she was a star on black and white TV panel shows and game shows. We really only caught on to her with the Mary Tyler Moore Show, then of course the Golden Girls, but we all loved her, and to be honoured on a stamp is really quite something.
Yeah, it is. Now, people over in Chicago have been left sort of scratching their heads. What's going on?
Yes, so yet again we have another lookalike contest taking place. Now, this seems to be a whole new thing. You can see here, this is the Jeremy Allen White lookalike contest, and some of them you think, really, who told you that? But nonetheless, it was a $77 prize for this one, so that's actually up on some of the other lookalike contests that we've seen in the recent months. Actually, I don't know why they've suddenly taken off, or maybe suddenly we've decided we're going to report on them more and more. But so far we've seen other ones from Dev Patel, was a big one. That was a...
Yeah, we should have said that before we crossed over with the vision, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, we've also seen the... where's the other one?
Paul Mescal?
Paul Mescal,
Yeah.
that was a big one. Of course, the other one, which really got everyone talking, and because it became a news story, was when Timothy Chalamet turned up at his own. So, yeah, you can see that these lookalike contests, they don't necessarily, I don't think the criteria is that high to actually get people. There he is. You'd think that was a good one, actually. But lookalike contests, I think, are something we're going to be covering more and more, as indeed I don't think the prize money is going to go up and up.
Well, one of those guys at the Alan White one, the Jeremy Allen White one, looked like Mr. Bean. And I'm just wondering.
He didn't win.
Good on you, Pete.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Pete.
mate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.